We'll move on to hold control, alright? Hold control allows the shooter to maintain proper sight alignment, yeah, and sight picture when firing the shot, alright? There's no good lining up everything, getting it all perfect, and as you pull the shot you're not hold controlling, yeah? You're moving, you're flinching, alright? So hold control is eliminating that flinch, alright? A proper grip is essential to hold control, okay? If you don't have that gun gripped correctly, your hold control is going to go. Alright. One goal of hold control is to minimise the arc of movement. Does anybody know what the arc of movement is? Hazard a guess. Any ideas? Arc of movement?
The bullet, is it?
It's what?
The arc of the bullet.
It has, because you've got recoil. Yeah? And what's the recoil doing? It's moving the gun. Right? Depending on the calibre, there's going to be bigger arc of movement. Yeah? Fire a pistol, and we go up or down or left or right. Yeah?
Yeah.
It can go anywhere. Arc of movement. Yeah? Depending on the mechanism, semi-auto, kick to the right, yeah? It just depends, but there's always arc of movement, and you can't stop it, right? The gun's a machine, it's going to move, alright? If you try and muscle that gun, you're going to either over-muscle it and pull your shots low, alright? Or you're never going to get it dead steady, so you're going to minimise the arc of movement, alright? That's the arc of movement there with a rifle, for example. It can go anywhere, alright? It's the unavoidable motion of a rifle held in a shooting position, okay? It's unavoidable, you're going to get some movement, alright? Practice decreases the arc of movement, it won't eliminate it, alright? Our sight alignment and our sight picture, breath control also, and follow through. But for the moment, that's all it is, yeah? It's proper grip and reducing the arc of movement, alright? Breath control. Breath control minimises the body's movement produced by breathing, which can impair good shooting. Alright? Take a breath before each shot, let out enough air to be comfortable, and then simply stop breathing while firing the shot. Alright? So you're actually inhaling, letting out half it, so your lungs are still full of some air. Yeah? And you take the shot. Alright? You don't hold it too long, you start to tremor slightly. Alright? Which will affect our trigger control, which will affect our hold control, which affects our sight alignment and sight picture. Alright? So it's important to breathe correctly. Avoid holding breath too long, this can cause tremors. Yeah? Okay. Trigger control. Trigger control is extremely important. Alright? Trigger control is a proper method of activating the trigger to minimise movement that can misalign the sights. Alright? So, if you pull that trigger pretty hard, you're going to move the muzzle. Move the muzzle a couple of mil here, by the time it gets to 50 metres, it could be 3 inches. Okay? By the time it gets to 300, it could be 3 foot. Alright? So if Kerry was to apply pressure to that trigger and watch the muzzle move, yeah, pulling it down, moving the gun, a lot of movement there.
Extreme, but to do it.
So a Kerry's trigger on that gun, or on my gun, on my CZ, is a standard trigger. It's quite heavy. You look at the guns downstairs, the bench rest target guns, very, very light trigger. Hair triggers they're called, or target triggers, competition triggers, very light. The idea is that we just have to gently touch it, set it off. As we pull the trigger, we're causing movement, right? And we're going to try and reduce that in trigger control. The tip of your finger is what you should use, not the joint, alright? If I look at the tip of my finger and imagine that I want to pull the tip back, directly back to my wrist, yeah? That's the movement there, that's all I need. If I wrap my finger around that, I'll pull, see the amount of movement involved? My whole finger is moving. And that's more movement, yeah?
Again, you're pulling it, you know, you're pulling it to the direction of your hand.
Back, directly back to your wrist, the tip of your finger.
Tip.
Straight back, every single time, alright? And that's good trigger control. As opposed to wrapping your hand around it, pulling it too hard and causing more movement in the wrist and the hand.
And touching at the lower part of the trigger, not higher, because it's going to be on the lower end of it like that. You're up here.
It's a lever.
with more movement again.
Let the lever do its job. It's got leverage. Use the bottom tip of it, yeah? Okay, trigger control is the proper method of activating the trigger to minimise movement that can misalign the sights. Alright, we understand that, I think. Trigger is between the fingertip and the first joint, so it's the first pad, your finger. Alright? Trigger is squeezed straight in a rearward smooth, continuous movement. Alright? It's another thing called compressed trigger pull. Okay? As I squeeze the trigger, remember you've got to apply all the fundamentals to your breathing as well. Alright? Your sight alignment, your sight picture, and now your trigger control. Alright? So I'm worried about everything here, and I'm holding on target, and I'm focusing on the front sight, and I'm squeezing that trigger back in compressed trigger pull. It's where I'm squeezing the trigger back with the same compression, the same amount of power. I'm not jerking. Yeah? Slowly pulling it back, 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 back. As I line up the sights and the target, bang, goes off, surprise break. Yeah? I'm not expecting the shot, but it goes off. It surprises me. That means I'm not flinching. Alright? That means I'm doing compressed trigger pull, proper trigger control. Alright? And it's something we'll really work on today and really focus on when we're on the range, because remember, it's not a competition, it's just to get our groupings right, and you will see a vast improvement if you apply good trigger control.